Hi everyone, my name is David Reimer. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, which is also my first ever recorded YouTube video, I would like to show you how to make a posing cube for your studio. If you feel like you're interested, follow me on this journey. Let's go. So we are going to start with gathering all of our gear and pieces together. And first thing to do, I want to connect, or actually glue 3 pieces together and leave them for some time to dry up, so we can add the 4th piece and leave it overnight for the glue to bond everything together. Start with the glue application. This piece of equipment is another thing we need. It's going to keep those 3 pieces of wood together while the glue dries up. Let's apply the glue. See, make sure you don't get that piece of plastic foil in your way. Can you line it up properly? Let's see. Don't breathe. In the meantime, I had a little accident regarding exploding glue. Just remember, guys, when you do this kind of work, be careful with glue, be careful with all the tools, because anything can happen. Anything can explode, anything can cut your head off. Be careful. All right, we're gonna move on. This side of the box is still drying up a little bit, but I don't want to waste your or my time, and we're gonna go to the step number 2. I'm actually gonna put those L-shaped brackets that are going to support the box from the inside, and we're going to screw in those tiny screws. Very important thing, guys. Remember, the length of the screw cannot be bigger. I mean, the screws cannot be longer than the thickness of your plywood or whatever you are using, because it's basically going to go through and you'll see it. So the thickness of this piece of wood is 18 millimeters, and I have screws that are 16 millimeters, so it's just perfect to do this work. All right, it's time to put the 4th wall. I'm gonna do it basically the same way, just this time it's gonna be standing up. I'm gonna put the glue and try to wedge this 4th piece in between and then clamp it together. I'm actually gonna start with applying the glue on those sides. Doesn't actually matter. I'm not a carpenter anyways, so please don't judge, don't give me a lot of bad feedback. I'm basically doing this kind of thing first time in my life, and I'm hoping it's gonna look good and do its job. Yeah, remember, one of the sides is shorter, so make sure you put it the right way. Otherwise, it's not going to be good. Remember, make sure everything is properly lined up here on those sides, on the outside, as well as on the top, before you put the clamp and you let the glue stick everything together. Alright everybody, since the glue still needs to dry a little bit more and I have to go home because it's already 6:30, I'll see you tomorrow with the rest of this construction episode. Hey everyone, so this is day 2 of our posing box project, The glue has dried overnight, and I've managed to put a few more connectors just a few minutes ago, and those 4 pieces are all together, and there's one more piece left that we're gonna put right now. So let's do it. One more thing before we continue. So I'm gonna take that piece of plywood and find the best position for it to fit. Since, you know, it's never perfect, it's always going to be a little crooked, something is going to be sticking up. So I'm going to try to make it as perfect as possible, mark the sides, and then flip it upside down. So when we put the glue, the weight of the rest of the box is going to push down on that one piece that's going to be on the bottom. And take a look at this. Now let's flip it upside down. Well, since it's almost ready, I'm going to apply glue all over the edge and then just put the rest of the box on top of the one that goes on the bottom, but then later it will be the one on the top. Everything seems to be lined up as good as possible. Now, just for safety, I'm going to put a clamp on one of those sides of the box, and I'm going to add some extra glue all the way around the seal inside the box. The glue is dry, so now we're going to put those L-shaped brackets into each one of the sides and to the bottom of the box. Okay, basically the box is ready. All you have to do is just paint it with either white paint, black paint, or any kind of color you prefer to have in your studio, and you're good to go. So, as you can see, the base construction is ready. But I came up with another idea just to make it super safe. I decided to drill a few holes on the sides of the boards and put those 4 centimeters long screws through the side just to make more connection points to the box. One more thing you have to remember, since in my case the thickness of the board, MDF board, is 18 millimeters, you have got to use ruler just to measure the exact middle of the board, so you know the screw doesn't go off to the side, and it's all super neat. So we are back, day 3, probably the longest ever video of how to make a wooden studio box. But I'm sorry guys, this is my fault. I just don't have time to do everything in one take within one day, so I had to split it in few parts. But we're almost done. Hopefully today will be the last day. What I'm gonna do right now, I've actually started a little bit. So here's a wood putty and a spatula. What we're gonna do is fill up all the holes, all the inequalities, the tiny holes, and anything that kind of bothers you or is not perfect. You're gonna fill it up with putty, and after it gets dry, you just have to polish it, and we'll be ready for the last step, which is painting. Let's do that. Ooh. All right. So just, yeah, I've never done this before. I'm just doing it the way I think it should be done. You always use a little bit more of material, so it's kind of too much. And then at the end, you'll just polish it off. Otherwise, you'll have a hole that's not filled in. Next step in our cube production is sanding the putty. Putty is dry, so we are ready for that step. I am going to use this orbital sander connected to the vacuum cleaner, since I don't want to get my whole studio covered in dust. But of course, if you don't have any kind of this device, you can use a regular sandpaper. I'm gonna use this grain size 120, so it's pretty nice and smooth. Let's get to work. Oh, one more thing. The last step I highly recommend, especially if you are using the MDF board, just smooth out those edges because they're sharp. And trust me, your models are going to be very thankful for that extra 2 minutes of effort. Before we proceed to the last step, which is painting, obviously, I would recommend you dust off your box with a piece of wet cloth. That's going to help the paint to stick to the surface much easier. It's just a good thing to do. Yeah, you can see just how much of the dust is still on the box. Painting. For the first layer, I'm going to use the paintbrush, and for the second and probably the third layer, which will have to be applied, I'm going to use the roller just to give it nice and smooth surface. I'm not using anything special. I'm not using any wood paint. I don't know if it is right or wrong. I'm just going to use this latex wall paint that I use on my cyclorama, whatever you call it, if it has corners. If it has corners, is it still a cyclorama? Probably not. It's just the corner-rama thing. So basically, I'm going to use the same white paint as I use on my wall and floor in the white part of the studio. And let's see how that looks. Let's get to work. If the thing I'm sitting on was a big white flying dog, we could call it the never-ending story. But it's not a dog, it's just a wooden cube. And everything would be great, and as you can see, the box is pretty much done. Unfortunately, last night we had a photo shoot with my friend Joanna, and one slight problem came up. It is the paint. As you remember, I've used regular wall paint on to cover the cube, and it is not really the best solution because with any touch, you touch it with your jeans or any dark clothes, it gets stained right away. That's why I had to go to the hardware store again and get another bucket of a different paint. This time I got something to paint the. I mean, it's also water-based wood paint, but this time is to be used outside. So I hope it's going to be much better, much sturdier. Actually, I know it's going to be much better because I've painted one of my production tables in the studio with this paint, and it's keeping pretty well. So I gotta go back to work. See you after. As you can see, I have made a little platform out of the remaining piece of MDF and 4 simple wheels. So I can, move the box around the studio easier instead of carrying it around. It's pretty helpful, pretty handy.